This is Athletes as Educators with former pro basketball player, championship winning coach, and author Angela R. Lewis. Angie Lewis interviews current and former athletes who are passionate about sharing the lessons they've learned and the experiences that have shaped their lives. A resource for parents, a guide for student athletes, a source for current and former athletes, keys to transition off the court. Welcome to the Athletes as Educators podcast with Angela R. Lewis.
Welcome to this episode of Athletes as Educators. On our show today, we have Jordann Plummer. I've known Jordann since she was like 9, playing with the boys basketball team. Jordann is a coach at St. Louis University, played college ball at Drake University, and is just an all-around great person. Recently had her jersey retired, Cardinal Ritter Prep High School. Very excited to have her on the podcast. This is a historic moment, which you'll hear about soon in this interview, but wanted to welcome Jordann to the show.
Hey, everybody.
Well, today's pretty historic moment. Just Monday of this week was 314 Day. For those people who are not from St. Louis, 314 Day is the day where we represent St. Louis because our area code is 314. And the other reason this is pretty special is because Jordann is coaching at St. Louis University, which is where I played college ball. And they're going to postseason play for the first time in 13 years. First round of the WNIT. Jordann, how are you feeling about this? What were you thinking when the season started? What's going on in your mind, in the mind of the team?
It's us as a coaching staff, like, this is kind of what you grind for. This is what you put all the hours in, to see the hard work carry over. I mean, the grind from the student athletes, making a lot of sacrifices all across the boards. I mean, all of us have families, and it's just been great. And, heading into the season, we knew what we were capable of, but it's always that if factor, like, or that what if, like, the injury bug, like, that comes every year. It hurts teams at times, and, and the scheduling, and, just how good will we be? How great will we be? And our girls got used to winning really early with our scheduling and things like that, and got the confidence, and we got things rolling. And, ever since, I think the key game that really surged us to a whole nother level is the opener, the A-10 opener against George Mason. We were doing very well in our non-conference. We ended it on a pretty good note. Played pretty tough in the conference down in Tulane, or tournament down in Tulane, and then, we just kind of took that game for granted. We took that opportunity for granted, and they came in there and they wanted it more than us. And the 3 or 4 practices after that were brutal. All coaches can relate. You're trying to just surge that team again, because that's not how you want to start off, season 2, conference season.
Right.
And so it jolted our team, and we went on another 7-game winning streak. And then we dropped 1, and then we went on another 6-7 game winning streak. So it's just been awesome. The girls are extremely excited because, like you noted, it hasn't been done in over 13 years. I mean, we're sitting at 24-7. That's the most wins in that program's history, and the program's been around for 41 years. So just being a part of something special in my hometown, like, who could have drafted that? That's my, my first year, and, we got a great group of kids there. They're all studious, and they all love the sport, and they're fun to be around. They make the job it doesn't feel like a job. It just feels like, hey, we're talking about basketball today? Cool.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit more about being at home. You didn't start here in terms of your coaching. Can you kind of go a little bit through your path and how you got to St. Louis University?
Yeah. So I came home the summer of 2010, and, like most college graduates, looking for somewhere to work. And I was able to secure a job in Normandy High School, and they had an opening on their girls basketball staff. So I joined that with Preston Thomas, and it really just jolted me and just kind of confirmed to me that this is what I want to do. And also further let me know that I know that I can give more if I'm on a college level. And I just took an alternate route. Started high school and reached out to some of the local universities that had job postings, and linked up with Jordann Olofsson, who's still the current head coach at Webster University. And I was there for 2 years, and I loved every bit of it. I mean, seeing those girls who pay for school,
Yep.
their passion for the game, like these girls are paying for school. Most of them are holding full-time and part-time jobs just to help out with the bills, and they still manage to give it their all on the court. Like
Absolutely.
Some, and I'm not saying all, but there's some stories that I've heard. There's some that I've witnessed where some Division I players take it for granted, like what they get. Like they think the full ride scholarship, like they've earned that, so they have they smell themselves a little bit like you're here for me, I'm not here for you type attitude. And it's not the majority, but it is a small pack of minority of those players that have that, and they breathe that. And it's just some of them get it, break it down, and they get with the coaching staff who obviously don't play that, and to kind of change their mindset. But it's still a major problem. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, the SMU head coach alluded to it with the sense of entitlement, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all of those girls that I was able to coach, because they were my first class of collegiate athletes, and just to see them work extra hard and knowing where I came from Division I, and it just kind of opened my eyes to like, wow, the things that we may have fussed over, like when are we gonna get some new pair of socks? Like these kids only had like 2 pair of game socks.
Yep.
Like, and where I'm at now, it's just like they could just go on the bin or talk to equipment, and it's there within minutes, and they can have like 4 or 5 different colors to choose from. So it really just humbled me in the aspect like these.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, just you really appreciate the opportunity. You have to appreciate the opportunity that you're in, because again, we all know 2 or 3 people who didn't get that opportunity, and they were forced to hang it up or just live through it in intramural sports. So
no, you're absolutely right. I coached at Webster University as well. Just so funny. And I had the same experience. There was this young lady named Carrie, which I will never forget. She had asthma. And we would like try to tell her to take it easy because she could pass out. But her mindset was she was going to push herself until she almost passed out, and then she would stop. There were times we literally had to watch her as she was running sprints and then go over and grab her because she would damn near pass out. And we obviously didn't want her to pass out, but she pushed herself. And then, when you coach at other levels and to see players who are given literally everything, and for them not to put in that work is frustrating.
Yeah.
But you're at a really good place now. And,
Very.
like you don't have that where you are, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So when I was at Marquette University, Director of Ops, Coach Lisa Stone, who's your head coach, was at Wisconsin. What is it like working with Coach Stone?
There's not a day that she comes in without having a positive attitude. Like, it's a positive environment. She's very energetic. She's just a very good person. I've learned a lot from her already, and it's only been a year. She puts a lot of trust in her assistants, and she allows us to grow underneath her. And again, not everybody has that, but the work environment is very awesome. Like, she she gotta have like a motherly feeling, in a sense. But she's just a great person. I'm truly honored and blessed to be working under her. She's been in this profession for 30 years, so she knows her stuff, and she sees a lot of great qualities in me, and that's why one of the reasons why I got the job. And it's just been awesome. Everybody comes in to speak to her. She speaks to everybody every morning going down the hallway. There's not a sport coach that she doesn't walk by and doesn't at least greet. You know, she's not always, consumed by herself, her sport, what's going on. She takes the time out. And I mean, not everybody has that quality or that people personality where, that may brighten somebody's day and she may not even know it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it makes a big difference to work with a great leader. I think it's going to be tremendous for your development as a coach. Let's take a trip back down memory lane, right?
Oh.
So we both grew up playing at Mathews Dickey Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. And will you talk about what it was like playing ball there and when you first fell in love with the game?
Okay. I'll start with the environment first. I can remember chunks of my childhood being in that gym from sun up to sundown, playing games, watching other people play, watching the boys team come in there and play. I mean, Angie, watching you play. I mean, with the three numbered jerseys, and then going, it was 2 gyms. It was just constant basketball. It was just a brotherhood and a sisterhood. Everybody knew everybody, even like the Mathews Dickey football players when they would get done, 9 light, 9 heavy, or whatever. Mm-hmm. When they get done playing across the street, they will come over, take off their cleats and stuff. They'll put, some of them be playing out by the pool area, and they'll be sitting watching basketball. And Gary, he was very fundamental in keeping all of us around. And my first job was being a scorekeeper, and sitting there just sitting there watching the game, and taking score, learning that aspect of it. And I truly fell in love with it when I first started, because it was a different challenge. Track was my sport. I was running track with Royal Knights since I was 5 years old. Okay. Picked up the ball when I was, I was a late bloomer in most people's eyes. Picked the ball up when I was 11. Played with boys. It was me and this other girl. We were the only girls on the team. Played co-ed leading up to their AU when they had to qualify, and I couldn't play with them anymore. But it was, I dedicated a lot of my time, like a lot of summer nights, after I get out of school, go home, have an afternoon snack, and then I'm either, going out to Hazelwood West with a couple other guys like Kim Burke, who I worked out a lot with. He's a, Cardinal Ritter star. Brian Baldwin's another one. Colin Toms, Taj Jackson, Saul. Like, I worked out with a lot of those guys. And the list can go on and on, but I loved it so much. I breathed it, ate it. It was everything. I miss my days at Mathews Dickey because it was just, I was there literally sun up to sundown, and
you lived there.
And if we would be itching to, oh, you ain't got enough? Can I run?
Yep. Yeah, it's like we didn't want to do anything else. Like, all we wanted to do was ball. And you're right. If we weren't playing, we were reffing. If we weren't reffing, we were scorekeeping. And we got paid really well. Like, I don't know who.
Yeah, we did.
Paid, but man, I mean, I remember it was like $15 to keep the score and like $20 to ref. And we weren't like the best, No,
we weren't. We were like delayed, and then like the phone would be out, and the coaches would be getting a little mad, but I was like, okay, we're good. But even though those hard benches, I loved it. I loved it. Like, we got to know the referees. That's why I met John Albert. He had a nickname that I did not say on air. But he know what it was.
It was family though. Like you developed this family, and
Yeah.
one thing that I didn't realize that young players, I hope you guys catch this, is these people you grow up playing with, those refs that you see, those coaches, you're going to be connected to these people for life.
Yes.
It never goes, like, we could have never predicted that we would be here in this moment having this conversation when we were like 12. I'm a little older than you, not that much, so just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. We got a small gap.
I have to talk about that. But yeah, you just never know how you're going to connect with people and how life is going to turn out, and how people are going to show back up in your future. Will you talk a little bit about your decision to play with the boys and your parents agreeing?
Oh, it was it was my track coach who he wanted to start a boys basketball program because his son that was really good, and he had a younger son, Kenzie, and so he asked my dad, like, hey, I think Jordann would be really good at basketball. I'm starting this girls league or this all boys team called the Flyers. And so he asked me, and I idolize Coach Burke. Idolize him. Like, my dad could say something, and Coach Burke could come back around and say the exact same thing. And, I mean, we've all been like that as kids at one point. And because Coach Burke said, oh, all right, I'm going to do it. Like, I idolize him. And so I was like, of course, Coach Burke coaching it. Yeah, I'm going to play. And so I went out with him, and I was terrible. But I thought that I was like the next, like, I watch Bulls games.
Right.
Like, I go out there and do what MJ doing, shooting fadeaways and, all that. And so I asked him, like, what was his, Coach Burke, I asked him, what was your number in college? Because he played football for Iowa, and he was a halfback, and he was like 15. So that was my number for life until I got to college and I had to change. But that's the backstory on that. That was his number, and every team I was on, I'm number 15. I don't care how y'all gotta get it. Y'all gotta create New Jersey 15. But a lot of people don't know this. I played football.
Really?
Oh yeah.
With
UCD Lions 9 light, and I was the halfback, and I was safety. Even one game I played nose tackle, and that freaked my mom out. But I was quicker than the guys, so they never touched me. But so me playing with boys with less physicality, playing basketball, that was a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. That was a no-brainer for my parents. But yeah, I definitely played football with UCD Lions.
Podcast. That's super interesting though that you started being an athlete playing with boys. Now I have older brothers, so I grew up in the backyard with them beating me up. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to play with people who are better than you or who you can compete with, because you learn how to take some falls and then get back up. When you were playing, what are some challenges that you had early on when you were 11, 12, 13?
Having the confidence to perform on the court. Like, I would train, I would play one-on-one against the boys all the time, and, do drill work, and I feel good. No one's in front of me. Mm-hmm. Now it's live in this game. You don't want to mess up, and, you want to win. And in the beginning, we weren't very good. We were okay, but we weren't very good. I was not very good. Mm-hmm. It was, but I stayed with the craft. I had the mentality, I guess, at a young age to compete and get better. And I wanted to get better. And it goes with the passion of the game. Like, I want to be the best at it. Like, I was pretty good running track. Mm-hmm. So that whole, mentality, like, individually you have to perform and, contribute to the team. So I think that was my biggest challenge. And then when I had to, I started playing with girls full term, and it was kind of a challenge to me because just playing with girls, it was just a different speed. Mm-hmm. And then my dad was just always in my ear, like, you used to do all these moves against the guys. Why won't you do it against the girls? Like, guys are fast. Like, he would just always just be in my ear about it. And then one day it finally clicked. And then I was just kind of like, oh, I can do this. It was just the confidence piece of it. That was the biggest.
It takes some time, though. I love how you said you were really bad at first.
I was really, oh, God.
Yeah, I was like, no one starts off just killing them. Like, everyone starts off bad.
Yeah.
And eventually you keep working and the love for the game develops and you start experiencing some success. And after that, you decide that, okay, I can do something with this.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep working, even though you're bad.
Oh, yeah. I was terrible, but you couldn't tell me nothing. Every move, I thought that was MJ-like.
So you had a vision early on.
Oh, yeah. I remember. It was one game we played at Kirby Middle School. I'll never forget it. And I knew after that game, we were going up to Chicago because my mom won tickets and we were going to see the Bulls play.
Okay.
Fast break. I go down on the right side wing. I go up and I do a 360 jump and just throw the ball, like not even looking at it, because I seen MJ do something similar to it. And back then at Kirby, I haven't been there lately, but it wasn't the square backboard. It was like the half circle. Missed it all. Just threw it out of bounds. Just completely threw it out of bounds. Oh yeah, that image that always sticks out to me when I think about how bad I was.
It's a part of the process. It is.
It really was.
Yeah, there's some younger athletes who need to hear that you're going to be bad and you just work through it. In the time that we've talked, you've mentioned your parents a lot. My dad, my mom. I know your parents, obviously.
Right.
We talk a little bit about the support of your parents and the impact that that's had on your basketball career, but then your life overall.
Sure, I can brag about them. No,
but awesome though. Your parents are awesome.
Yeah. They just always been supportive of whatever. They never forced anything. So I remember countless times, my dad, he has zero basketball background. He was a football guy, played football at University of Illinois, running back. So he did his best. Like, we live Pebblestone throw from Hema Park. So he was the one who taught me, next, going out there playing 5-on-5 with the boys. And, I'm nervous. I'm like, what? These grown men, you want me called next? And he taught me how to pick, pay attention, who you want on your team and stuff like that. Or just, hey, let's go get some shots up. He, bought the little dribble goggles. He had the leather gloves on me for the fingertips. He did a little makeshift thing with the frisbee to keep my guide hand off the ball. Like, whatever we were involved in, they were 1,000% heavily invested. And he knew the game. We could never play 1-on-1 because he had 2 left feet and he would travel. But, I mean, he ultra supportive. And my mom, she played basketball at Parkland College, so she had a stronger basketball background, played in high school and stuff, so she was all about getting my handles right. So we would go out there with the cones, and she was like, I got this move, I'm telling you, behind, between the legs, behind the back, inside out. She's like, you do that move, I'm telling you. And so, like, it would have been countless games, like, we would practice, and she would be yelling in the middle of the game, do the move. And
I can hear her.
Oh, I'm not ready. And then when I did it, she about lost her soul. She was just screaming up and down. She's like, she finally did it. But, I mean, they've been so invested in my passion for the sport. They had that same attitude with the academics. They didn't play, anything they deemed unacceptable. No sports, they just didn't take no mess. And like in life in general, I think that helped me just become a strong Black woman, and all the life lessons I've learned through the sport of basketball and having a strong support system behind me. Not everybody has that, and I I started noticing that a lot in high school. You know, some of my teammates, like, parents couldn't make it, i.e. because of work, or they just didn't make time for it. And it just like, really, like, your kid is pretty good. But I mean, my parents to this day, they're close to retirement, but my mom comes to every game. She made it happen. She came to our conference tournament out in Richmond, Virginia, and she was there for every single game, even games outside of us, just to see the competition, who we were playing the next day. Like, she is a super fan. Dad is a super fan too, but you know, he's a lot more reserved with it.
Yeah, having that parental support makes a tremendous difference. And I remember being a kid growing up, whenever we had games, your mom was there. Like, I vividly remember when I was playing at SLU, like, your mom brought you and your dad, like, y'all were at the game. It's
we
up to us after games to be like, y'all didn't play hard enough. And I'm sorry. You don't get a
back in West Pine, it would be, I remember being there with the Sheltons. We all just come and we'll sit up there and we'll watch the game. And yeah, I remember it. I remember like it's yesterday watching you play college ball, and you and Christian Shelton and Heather King, and it was I remember West Pine. I remember being up in there for a lot of games.
It's not what
no, it's a big come up, but I mean, I like what they've done with the old West Pine gym. It is pretty cool.
It is cool. But Shafe is way cooler. Like, Shafe is so amazing. The facility is top notch. And
I remember when Pizzotti was there and she was telling me about it, that it was in the works, and they had like the visuals and the blueprint and everything. I'm like, it does sound pretty cool.
Now you're there, you know.
I know, it's crazy. Like you said, the roads and the pathways that lead you to where we are now.
You just, sometimes you don't know. But let's say that you are a college athlete, right? You're working with tons of college athletes. You've been working with them over the years through coaching. There are going to be some college athletes that listen to this who are seniors who are going to graduate in a few months, and they may be interested in coaching. What advice do you have for them?
Biggest piece of advice, you have to have a strong passion for what you're going to get into. Because if you are half like, maybe it seems pretty cool, the grind will eat you up early if you aren't 1,000% in it, because it's never a 9 to 5 on anything. in this occupation.
Give an example of the grind.
Okay. So during the season, you know, coaches get a layout of scouts and stuff like that. And then on top of that, our lifeline is recruiting. So you got to get out. You got to be seen. You know, you're talking to these kids. You're building a relationship. You're telling them you're going to come to games. So you go, and, you know, it's another avenue of time management. You got to get this scout done, because, you know, you want to prep your team to know everything they need to know to execute a victory. And so you have to balance that with, you know, say you got to go travel or fly or drive 5-6 hours to watch this kid, come back, say you get back home at 2, you got to turn around, meet with the head coach at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, brief her on everything, have the scout ready, and just go from there. And I think the biggest grind that people got to get adjusted to, new coaches, is the recruiting. When you, especially in the summer, like 12 straight hours watching good, bad, and sometimes ugly basketball, because you're gonna follow like a certain team or a certain player, but they have breaks. So like when they leave, like you don't leave the gym. You go follow the next team you gotta watch, and so you're sitting and sometimes standing for 12 hours watching this kid, making sure, you know, that you've seen everything you need to see to make sure she's a valuable option for your program. And so July, you're home probably like 10 days or less out of the month, and you're just constantly going from city to city, gym to gym, I've gotten really smart just bringing snacks because lunch is kind of like you have to find that small hour break. You know
Right.
what I'm talking about? Where
Yep.
you can go get something to eat and come right back so you
Yep.
can't miss this other game. So this kid can see you, so she knows you're serious and you're just not all talking, gassing these kids up. But
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's one of the grind examples. It's many, but that's one that's a lot of people just it's something I had to get used to.
Absolutely. It's different. And it is a grind. And it never stops. Ever.
Nope.
Ever,
Nope.
ever stops. We were trying to actually have this interview tonight. And I texted you, you're like, hold on, I'm on the phone with a recruit. Like, I can't talk right now. I'm like, I get
Right.
it. Just hit me up when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about this weekend, let's jump to Thursday, to big game, WNIT.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the game, what you're excited about, and just how you guys have prepped for this.
Well, we're playing in the postseason. Like,
Yeah.
we're having practice in March. That's exciting. Not postseason, not, give the kids spring break. Like, we still got games to play and win. So that moment alone, again, is just rewarding, and, to just keep adding on to a storied year for our program. And we have a great school coming in. Not sure how much people know about Arkansas Little Rock. They have been in the NCAA consecutively for the past 8 to 10 years out of the Sun Belt Conference. And last year they beat Texas A&M to move on to the second round. So they lost 2 seniors off that team, and they got, they got a senior post right now, Shanity James, St. Louis native girl. So she's going to be up for it as well, because they haven't had a chance to, to bring her back home necessarily. So, and her high school, Clyde C. Miller Academy, is down the street from our school. So
Yep.
it's going to be an amazing environment. Our girls are stoked. Some of the girls were, bummed that we didn't get an NCAA bid, but they understood, it was other factors besides our record and besides our conference finish. We had to beat Duquesne necessarily in the semifinal to get there, to make an appearance in the championship game. So, Arkansas Little Rock is going to be a competitive game for us, where we obviously want to win out on top. And we talked to the girls about it today. We went over a couple of plays and scouts, and tomorrow film, and one more walkthrough on Thursday, and then it's go time.
It is. Well, Jordann, I am so happy for you all. So excited. I will be there in my SLU blue on Thursday night.
Oh,
Cannot wait.
We are actually Thursday, St. Patrick's Day, so we're actually the first 500 that come through. We have green Billiken shirts.
Oh,
so, yeah.
500 then.
Yeah. You gotta make sure you get one of those. Absolutely. I don't have any green shirts either, so I'm be like, I would grab one of those.
Right. Very historic moment. Well,
Jordann, and if anybody listening, come on out. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. $10 tickets.
Yep. Come on out. Support SLU women's basketball. I mean, we're really excited that we're back in postseason play, and this will be a trend moving forward. Super excited. Jordann, if there is a parent that has questions about the college recruiting process, if there are people that want to reach out to you, how can people reach you?
They can reach me via email, Plummer, PLUMMERJP @slu.edu.
What about social media? Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I should know. My Twitter handle is give me a second, because I don't look at my own personal handle that much. Is @Coach_Plummer.
So hit Jordann up on Twitter, send her an email. St. Louis native, wonderful young woman out here doing big things for student athletes and is a great host.
This is Athletes as Educators.
Thank you for listening to the Athletes as Educators podcast. Connect with me through the Athletes as Educators Facebook page or at Athletes Educate on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode, and go over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. For more resources and information about today's podcast, you can check us out at AngelaRLewis.com.